Everybody, I'm back. Everybody, Jeannie Young is back, and I'm back with yet another amazing recipe, the Runza. The Runza is on the menu at the Young's house, and I am so excited. I'm so excited to share with you all this recipe. I want to show you how quick and simple Runza can be made. There is another name for Runza, and that would be bee-rock. This recipe does not require a lot of ingredients, and if you make a Gina Young style, it's going to be so tasty. Here's what you'll need to make Gina Young style Runza. Okay, everyone, happy Saturday to each and every one of you. I hope you all are having an amazing, blessed weekend. Okay, first thing we want to do, make sure your hands are impeccably clean. Let me show you these lovely ingredients. Very few ingredients, but yet so flavorful in taste. So right here, I have some ground beef, and this is just 80-20 ground chuck. Okay, and then we have cabbage. You will need cabbage. You're going to need a yeast roll dough. Okay, so what I decided to do, those of you that know me and that are familiar with me, you know I'm not gonna make homemade dough when I can go out and buy these amazing rolls, yeast dinner rolls. They are, let me show you what they look like, okay? They come frozen. It's fresh dough. All you have to do is you thaw them, rise them, and bake them. This is perfect for the recipe that I'm gonna make today. Now, if you need the recipe for the dough, I'm gonna put in the description below how you can make your Runza dough homemade. Okay, so then you will need onion. You're gonna need some salt and cracked black pepper. And we're gonna do two different types of Runzas. One of them we're gonna use extra sharp cheddar. I have some sliced sharp cheddar, and I have some shredded sharp cheddar. And then we're gonna do the original ones as well. So what I've done with my yeast dough is on the package, it tells you that you need to take them out, put them on a baking sheet, grease the bottom of your baking sheet, and then use a piece of plastic wrap, put a little bit of oil on the plastic wrap, and just let them thaw out for 3 hours. So it's been 3 hours, and this is what they look like. You can see they're much bigger, but I'll show you what we're gonna do with these. Make sure your oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Let's get started. So now we are going to, let's move our meat out the way. I want to chop my onion because we're gonna need onion to cook with our ground beef. So let's get that going, just like so. This is a large onion. I believe I'm going to use half of it, but don't skimp on the onion, okay? You definitely need the onion for that original flavor of the Runza. Now let's talk a few facts about the Runza, because there's a lot of people that really aren't sure what is a Runza. I had to do a lot of research to figure out what is a Runza and where does it originate from. The bee-rock and the Runza sandwich, they both have German roots going back to the 18th century, which is very interesting. In Nebraska, there are 78 Runza locations. That's so interesting, right? You better believe it is. This dish falls between a Hot Pocket and a burger. And also, Runza sandwiches is said to originate from the pierogi, which is, I don't know if you all know what a pierogi is. Feel free to check out my video for the pierogis. They are a dumpling filled with savory filling. And that's sort of what we're going to do today. Okay, so that was a lot of fun facts. I really enjoyed myself learning about the Runza, and I cannot wait to try this. I cannot wait to sink my teeth down into this amazing recipe. You know, sometimes when you're not sure about a recipe, do a little bit of research. Find out about it. Where does it originate? What spices do you need to use? How can you make it taste original, you know, and that's what I had to do today. Thank you to the person that requested this video. I know this is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so I think that right there is definitely enough onions. Okay, I want to bring my frying pan into the equation, and we'll put our meat and our onions in together. Okay, just like so. That's pretty simple. All right, let's get all these goodness right into this pan. And I have a pound, a little over a pound and a half of the ground beef. I had a 2.5 pound package of meat, and I figured that would be a little too much. So I'm using a little over a pound and a half. Okay, so while I was doing my research, I searched and searched to find out. I wanted to see what spices did they use to make their beef absolutely amazing. And the only thing that I could find with so many recipes that I looked up was salt and pepper. And they feel like once you get a nice ground beef, just using salt and pepper will do the trick. Okay, so I have my salt and pepper here, and I'm just going to use it this way to distribute so I can put as much as I'd like into my meat. This is a nice amount of meat, so I'm going to put a nice amount of seasoning in there. Don't skimp on the seasoning. If you all are afraid to season your food will have no flavor, and that won't be good. Don't be that person. Okay, so we've seasoned very well with salt and pepper. Let's make our way over to the stove. Set this on the stove so it can start to brown up. So now make sure you wash off all of your veggies. I want to cut the cabbage in half. Make sure you push your digits in this way. You don't want to cut off your digits when you're making this lovely dish here. Use a little bit of elbow grease, and you want to cut it in half. And this stem right here, we want to get rid of that stem. That stem is a little too hard to eat. Okay, so you just make somewhat of a triangle and you pull that bad boy out. Pretty simple, right? You better believe it's simple. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to do this side as well. Now, one thing you don't want to do when you are making the runza or your birrak, you don't want to have more cabbage than beef or more beef than cabbage. You want to have both equal. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I mix in equal parts of this lovely cabbage, equal parts of the beef. But here's how you want to cut it. Okay, you don't want very huge pieces. Okay, take the time out. I'm left-handed, so hopefully you all can see exactly what I'm doing. Let's see, once I get a little closer, you'll see a little bit what I'm doing here. Trying to make it all the same size so it all can get done around the same time. Okay, so now that I have this here, I'm just going to go and cut it in this manner. Pretty simple, right? And we can literally just take our knife and do a number like that. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so we're going to, I'm not going to need the two heads. One head will do the trick. Okay, and if I feel like I have a little too much cabbage, then I won't use it all, but I will not throw away that cabbage that I cooked. We'll definitely eat it. We don't throw away anything here at the Young's house. Okay, see that there? Beautiful. Just like so. And once this cooks down, it'll really shrink a whole lot. Okay? Pretty simple, right? Okay, now we're going to make our way over to the stove. We're going to turn that ground beef on. We're going to start to cook this. Now, I see that there are some people that like to cook their beef, their onions, and their cabbage together. Absolutely, you can. I'm going to cook mine separate. The reason why I'm going to cook mine separate is because I don't want for my cabbage to soak up the oil from the beef. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to cook the ground beef and the onions together. And then once all of the oil comes out of the beef, I'm going to drain that beef very well. I'm going to go ahead and start cooking these with just barely a very tiny bit of water in my pan. And then once I drain my beef, I can then add my beef in with my cabbage. And then we're going to drain everything all together. Okay, the reason why we're going to drain it once again is because the cabbage releases some water, and you don't want this to be watery. You cannot do this dish successful with a watery cabbage. Let's make our way over to the stove. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and put our cabbage into our pan here. Just like so. And honestly, if you wanted to, you can cut your cabbage up much smaller if you'd like. Okay? Let's get rid of that big chunk that was right there. And we're going to season our cabbage with salt and pepper as well. Don't get carried away with the salt and pepper. When you eat the Runza, you want to be able to taste that beautiful beef. And make sure you take the time out. Here's the thing. I'm not going to use the beef from Walmart. I'm going to use the beef from a local meat market or Kroger's. That is the ground beef that I find that is absolutely amazing. Okay? So here's this. Salt and pepper. A little bit more. Not too much. And let me show you the little bit of water that we're going to use. It's a very tiny bit. Because remember, see that little bit? Just a little tiny bit. This cabbage will let off water itself. We're going to turn this on to a medium heat, and it'll start to cook down, and you want to stir it every once in a while. Right here we have our ground beef, and I just turned it on so it can start to brown up just like so. I cannot wait for this recipe. So excited. My cabbage is cooking up just lovely. You can barely hear it starting to simmer. And let's take a peek in at our ground beef. It should just start to be browning up. And what you want to do with this ground beef is you want to take that extra time to make sure that it's chopped up very well. Sometimes when we cook ground beef, it remains in big chunks. We're not making meatballs here. You want to make sure that this is ground up very, very fine. You know, while you're cooking it, sometimes it's even easier to chop up after you get it nice and golden brown. Okay? But you want to make sure we drain off all of that grease. My ground beef is starting to cook up, and it smells absolutely amazing. Whoo, it smells good. Oh yeah. Just like so. I don't know, me personally, when I purchase ground beef from Walmart, I'm really not happy with it. I like to purchase my ground beef from a meat market or from Kroger's. I think they have the best ground beef. Like, it's so good you can eat it this way, you know. Or it makes the best hamburgers. Absolutely. I go to my local meat market. I'm always happy with their ground beef as well. Absolutely. See how we have a nice amount of onions? Those of you that are really not fans of onions, just cut down a little bit on the onions. Or maybe use an onion flake. Okay? See how I'm going in and I'm chopping that ground beef up once again. Let's bring this over so I can show you all what's happening here. Beautiful. This is cooking up just as it should. Perfect. Then it'll cook down. Don't worry about that for 1 second, and it's not going to take a long time for it to cook down. All right? Beautiful. Okay, my ground beef is done. I'm going to let it cook for around about 3 to 5 more minutes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a colander so we can drain off all of that unwanted oil. Okay, everyone, time to drain the beautiful hamburger. Just like so. And I'm going to let that set for a few minutes until I don't hear the oil any longer. I am going to run some hot water down my sink so that my sink does not get clogged up. Just a little bit of soap into my sink. All right, beautiful. Okay, everyone, so now what we're going to do, our ground beef and our onions are well drained. Go ahead and put your ground beef and onions right on in the same pot with your cabbage. And it's really going to help this cabbage to quickly get done now. Okay, that hot ground beef going in with this cabbage. Oh, and you're gonna have some liquid, so don't worry about that. But like I said, once this cabbage gets done, and you don't want to make your cabbage mushy, you want to cook it to where, I'm gonna show you the texture when I'm happy with the texture, okay? When we can turn the burner actually off. And then we're gonna drain this to get all that extra liquid out of here. This must be nice and dry before we fill our beautiful yeast dough. So let's stir it around just like so, and I tell you one thing, it smells so good. Here's what I do want to do. I'm going to go in with this spoon, and I want to taste the cabbage and the beef just to see if it needs to be seasoned. Taste your food so you know what it tastes like, so you know what you're feeding to your loved ones. You have to always taste, okay? And if you need to taste several times, just use several different spoons. Quick and simple, right? Oh, it's so, oh my goodness. Oh, it's so good. So let this cook for a little bit and I'll be back. Okay, so here's what we have. We have everything that's done. And that cabbage is perfectly wilted, just like I want it. It's not hard and it's not mushy. We're gonna go ahead and turn this off. You know that the ground beef is done. We're gonna set this in a strainer for around about maybe 10 to 12 minutes so we can get all that extra liquid out. And I'm gonna take my spatula and I'm gonna push down this way in the strainer so we can make sure that it's nice and all the water is out. So now that we've drained our beef, our onions, and our cabbage, I've done this several times until all the liquid is out. Okay, now here's what you want to do. You want to let this cool down. I will not feel that beautiful yeast dough unless I cool this down. I feel like if you put the hot filling into the dough, it's gonna make that bottom soggy. We don't want no soggy bottoms. That sounds kind of funny. No soggy bottoms in this kitchen. But anyways, moving on. Let's set this. I'm just gonna take the whole colander. I'm gonna set it on top of a cookie sheet, put it in my refrigerator so it can cool down just for a little bit, and then I'll be back. Okay, everyone, so right here, I have some beautiful whipped, I don't believe it's whipped. I have some beautiful, pure Irish Kerrygold butter that we're going to brush on to this amazing runza once it comes out of the oven. Now, here's what we have from our dough that we have thawed out for those 3 hours. Let me show you something that you want to do. Make sure your counter is impeccably clean. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to we have our meat mixture in the, see this here? See how we've pushed it down a little bit? We're going to kind of stretch it out somewhat. Okay? Maybe into somewhat of a shape form in this manner. And right there, that's big enough. We're going to fill it with a nice mound, a big mound of that beautiful filling. And then we're going to take another one and put it on top. We're going to seal the sides up. Oh yeah, we're going to seal those sides up. And then we're going to throw them in the oven 350 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes because you got to think our filling is done. I'm not going to completely cool the mixture down where it's going to be cold, okay? So the bun is going to cook. The runza's going to come out. They're going to be beautiful. But one thing we are going to do, once we fill them up and put the top on and seal it very well, we're going to let these rise one more time just right here on the counter before they go in the oven, just as we would do if we were making these dinner rolls. Once the filling cools down, I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, our mixture has came out of the refrigerator. It's not cold, but it is cooled down. That's what you want. Now, I want you all to trust the process because when I first was doing the research and I was trying to figure out what spices to use and they just said salt and pepper, I couldn't believe it. And I thought, well, where is the clove? Where is the Maggi pollo? Where's the different seasonings? But when you taste it, it's amazing. Trust me. Just like I tell you all, trust the process. It is amazing. You know, and then it put me in the mind frame of when we make the corned beef and cabbage. If y'all haven't seen my video for corned beef and cabbage, oh my goodness, check it out. If you don't check it out, you are going to miss out. Corned beef and cabbage is amazing. And now I'm finding out that hamburger, onions, and cabbage is amazing as well. Now what we're going to do, take a tablespoon or take a, a measuring cup, whatever. Grab you some. Get you some in there. Make a nice mound. Okay? And we want to leave somewhat of the edge available so that we can seal the top part on. Okay? And remember, we're going to make the original kind, and then we're going to go in and make the kind with the extra sharp cheddar as well. Got a nice mound onto there. Look at that. Look how beautiful. Okay? And now we're just going to take this dough, and it'll stretch out for you, so don't worry for 1 second. And we're going to seal each one. Just like so, in this manner. You can fold it under a little bit, and then this is the part that you want to rise. We want to let this dough, and make sure you take the time to seal those edges up nice and tight, because we don't want this to pop open when it goes in the oven. I'm going to do the others. I'm probably going to make around about 7 of them, and I'll be right back. I must show you how I make the one with the sharp cheddar. I don't want to forget that. We're going to put a nice amount of cheddar right on top. Maybe just like so. Beautiful. It's going to be cheesy. It's going to be gooey. It's going to be amazing. Ooh, you better believe it. Now, there's one thing that I wanted to tell you all. I have a lot of this filling because I'm going to use up all that filling. I'm going to make extras, and I'm going to freeze them, and we can just pop them out of the freezer when we want a Hot Pocket. You just microwave that bad boy. You wrap it up in a paper towel, a damp paper towel. You heat it up, and voila, you have amazing runzas, quick and simple, already done for you, right? Look at that. Beautiful. So I'm going to make several of these. Okay, everyone, now, right here, I have a cookie sheet. You can see that I've put oil all over my pan. You want to pull these up nice and gently, be gentle, and put it onto your baking sheet. Okay, these are the ones with the cheese. Okay, and then I have another with cheese right here. And then these ones here are the original. We're going to let this rise for an hour. We're going to throw these in the oven around about 15 minutes on 350 degrees in the middle rack. When we come back, we're going to have razas, B-rocks, whatever you like to call it, runzas. Let me know in the comment section if I'm saying the name right. Look at this. Let's let them rise, and I'll come back and show you just how nice and puffy they got. I'm going to use a plastic wrap to put on top of them while they rise so that our dough does not get dry. Once again, if at any time I said the name wrong, please forgive me. Okay, everyone, these have risen, and look how big they've got. These have risen for around about 45 minutes. I can't wait any longer. These are going in the oven right now, 350 degrees on the middle rack. Okay, everyone, they are almost done. They look absolutely amazing, but one thing that I did do, I went ahead and brushed some butter on top so they could get nice, beautiful, and golden brown. Look at this, everyone. They are beautiful. My whole house smells absolutely amazing. They cooked for exactly 15 minutes. And like I said, I did go in the oven, brush some butter on, but what I do want to do is one more time, just put just a little tiny bit. Just that little tiny bit will do the trick. Look at this. Oh, you better make you some. You all never had these before. Give them a try. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. We do want to let these rest for a few minutes so they can cool down. You don't want to burn the daylights out of your family member's mouth. If you all enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time Gina Young uploads one of these awesome recipes. Tell your family and friends and everybody you know. Tell the whole world about Gina Young and what I'm doing in this kitchen on a daily basis. take a look at these beauties while I let them cool down. Let them cool down just for 5 minutes. You don't want that hot filling to come oozing out and burn anyone's mouth. Okay, everybody, let's dive in. First, what we want to do is we want to look at the original. Look at this right here. And it's, oh, look how beautiful. Look at this. My goodness. Oh, it's so beautiful, right? Let's try this one right here. This one right here is calling my name. So what we're going to do, you can see that one is gone. We're going to slice down into this. I'm going to give you all that first bite. Oh, and I can feel the steam coming out of that beautiful yeast roll. There's nothing like the taste of a nice hot and steamy yeasty roll. Look at this beautifulness when you get down in the inside. Oh my word. Listen here. Go ahead, take a bite of this and let me know what y'all think. I'm going in right away. I can't wait. Oh. This right here is absolutely amazing. Look at that beautifulness. It's so good. And I could have filled it up a little bit more. Next time I definitely will. Now, let's go into the middle of this one that has the cheese. Oh, look at that. Oh, it looks just like a cheeseburger. Taste this. Woo, let me know what you think. My goodness, it tastes so good. Woo, it's hot. It's creamy, it's flavorful. Get you a dipping sauce. Grab this bad boy. Make it for your loved ones, your family and friends. Let me know what you all think. And as always, God bless each and every one of you. Thank you all for watching. Good night.